Hello, hello, Johnny Lippiett here again for episode 5 in Vlogland for all you jazz cadets and musical maestros of cosmic creativity. Hopefully you've been enjoying these so far and they haven't bored you to tears. Ideally I'm going to shoot for 5-minute videos, but hopefully it's become apparent that once I start talking about something I can go on and on and on and put you all to sleep. And it's like train spotting, isn't it? Jazz saxophone, really. So, but that aside, there's enough of us that are interested in it that hopefully there's some useful information. And as we've said before, the more people that are putting stuff like this online, the better, because education is an amazing thing. There's no such thing as competition. The more people that are doing music, the better the world is. The brighter it is, the more rainbows, the more colour, and the more beauty we have. So, in today's lesson, getting used to playing in odd meter. Now, I'm sure that's something that some of you are struggling with. I know for a long time, put my name at the top of the list of people who needed to work on this stuff. I became a fairly proficient, at a sort of okay level, improviser, playing in 4 and 3. But as soon as somebody said 5 or 7, or any time signatures like that, I quickly looked for the door and tried to run away. However, as like most of my learning experiences in the world of jazz, I have had to get this stuff together through basically being kicked up the butt and learning the hard way. And when I moved to New York first in 2007, I think I've been here about 2 minutes when I was at a jam session and somebody called, I think it was All the Things You Are in 7/4. And I went, oh dear. Right. Now playing All the Things You Are wasn't a big deal, but playing it in 7 was really hard work to begin with. So hopefully in this lesson I can talk through the process of some of the things that I worked on that helped me get this stuff together. And maybe it might help somebody out there get this stuff together too. Now, the first thing we need to say is, do you remember when you first started playing in 3/4? That seemed like hard work, didn't it? 3/4 seemed hard, but now I bet you 3/4 is super easy for you, okay? Because you're used to it, and I'm sure you're very useful. You're used to it, and it's become an easy meter, and you're comfortable. And it's much like that with playing these odd meters. The only way to learn how to do it and get comfortable with it is to actually just do it. So much like learning to swim, we can read as many books about swimming as we want, but unless we actually get in the swimming pool and get wet, it's very hard to learn how to do it. Now, unfortunately, we don't live in a time where there's the apprenticeship thing and we can go out to the bandstand every night and sit in with great bands. Nowadays, as you know, there's a queue of 500 tenor players all lining up for their 2 choruses on Have You Met Miss Jones at most jam sessions. But what we can do is we can study this stuff in our own time. And one thing I took it upon myself to do was to make it my business to learn as much about playing in odd meter and try and get as fluent as in 5 and 7 as I could playing in 4 and 3. Now I say 5 and 7 because really, if we've already got 4 and 3 down, any of the other meters like 11 and 13, 15, things like that are just derivatives of 3, 4, 5, pretty much, isn't it? That's all we're looking at. 7 is just a 4 and a 3, a 5 is a 2 and a 3, and 11 is a 6 and a 5. And one of the first things that I found really helpful before I got into looking at odd meters was getting comfortable in 4/4 by splitting the triplet subdivisions. Now, you know, if we play a bar of 4/4 and we've got triplets in that bar of 4/4, we've got 12 triplets, haven't we? So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. But there I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But it's really great practice, and this is where I started, by splitting those group of triplets from the 12 into 5 and 7. Because 5 and 7 obviously gives us 12 as well. right? So instead of going 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, you keep that rhythmic pulse of the triplet, but you practice going 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, or 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. Here's a list I did here. I'll put this on my website as a download so you can have a look at it. But can you see here? We've got like 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2, you know, and so on and so forth. But there's some permutation, so I would get used to practicing things like and pick one of those patterns, like 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, and start to feel those subdivisions of the 5 and the 7, but within 4 4, right? Because there's a lot we can do with those triplets, isn't there? We don't always have to play 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Another great way to practice, just while I go off on a tangent, is grouping them in 4s. We keep the triplet pulse 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, but we play 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, right? That's a really great one to use, and you hear a lot of players using that, grouping the triplets in groups of 4. But for this, learning about odd meter, learning to take those triplets, da 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 da, and grouping them in 5 and 7s. 1 2 3 1 2, there's a 5. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2, there's your 7. And when you start thinking about it like that, when you listen to a lot of, say, Eastern European music, Balkan music, Bulgarian music, that has so many odd time signatures as a natural way of music. So a lot of people who grow up in those cultures don't even think about them as odd meters. It's just music. And the way we count them as 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3. There's usually subdivisions of 2s and 3s that give us the underlying pulse. Okay, so that's the first thing I'd really recommend checking out, looking at the subdivisions of triplets in 3s and 2s against the 4 4 pulse. Okay, so just to recap that, so if we've got the pulse of 1 2 1 2 3 4, and we're playing the normal triplets, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, start trying to group them in 2s. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then look at 1 and 2 and 1 2 3. And you can see we're putting that pulse in a different place, aren't we? We're breaking it up. So I'll put this on my website again, but that's a really useful thing to practice, breaking up the triplets into the groups of 5s and 7s. Okay, so once I'd worked on that a little bit, I started getting more of a feeling of counting 5. I started to think, okay, well, if 5's just 1 2 3 1 2, 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2, it was easier to get my head around this stuff. And like we said, if you want to get wet, you've got to get in the swimming pool. And another really important thing, and this is like super crucial, so big exclamation mark here, often I'd have students who said, I want to learn to play an odd meter. I'd say, well, what are you listening to? Oh, I don't know, I don't have much to listen to. Okay, well, that's not a great start, is it? If we want to learn how to speak French, what's the best way to learn to speak French, right? Go to France, okay? You can get your Learn French books from the library and put your headphones on, but it's not the same as listening to people speaking French all the time. So another thing I did was really spent some time researching all these great musicians who played in odd meters. Now, a lot of people think that odd meters are something new, but they're really not at all. I mean, we know a lot of people are very familiar with Dave Brubeck and Paul Desmond and Take 5 and the Time Out thing, but there was tons of people from that generation playing in odd meters. Clifford Jordan was playing a lot of odd meters. Yusef Lateef was playing a lot of odd meters. What I'll also do is put a PDF link to some songs I went through on my iTunes of songs in 5 and 7, old school stuff, new school stuff. But there's such a wealth of resource. And what I would do was just put these songs on, and I'm talking probably like 5 or 6 hours of this stuff, and just listen to it non-stop. So you get your head out of thinking in 4/4 and you start hearing things more in 5s and 7s, which is really super useful and super helpful for getting that stuff going. Now, this is the next thing I did to just help me get a feel for it, was take a song and using a tool like Audacity, which is a free download on the internet. It's a sort of music software tool. If you don't know Audacity, it's a really great tool to have for editing music. And what it allows you to do is, say, take a song off iTunes, put it in Audacity, and then you can clip and loop certain portions of the song. So I would take some of these songs, and I'll give you an example. I'll play one for you here. People would think Cannonball Adderley, oh, he didn't play anything in odd meters. Well, you're wrong. There's several songs Cannonball Adderley played in odd meters with Nat Adderley, with the band with Joe Zawinul. Joe Zawinul wrote a great song called 74 Miles Away, which is a wonderful 7/4 song. So what I do is I take the intro of the song and loop it and use it as a practice track. Okay, so I'll play it to you here. Hopefully you can hear it okay. So this is the da 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 5 6 7 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and I'll just loop it like that, and I'll just get used to practicing. It's one loop looping over again, so I'm not worrying about playing changes, I'm just working on the time. And what I'm also trying to do is hear that clave pattern behind it. Da 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 da. Okay, so can you hear all that is doing is just looping a track? So I found that super helpful for me, just to take a track, loop a section of it, and just get used to playing it over and over again. And when we're not trying to think about harmony, it's much easier just to focus on the rhythm and start feeling the pulse behind it. I remember hearing the Paul Desmond Take 5 version that I'm sure we're all familiar with, because it's one of the most done to death songs in the world. Made him a multi-millionaire, actually. And when you listen to his solo, he plays a lick, I can't remember the exact lick, but something like do 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 do, kind of like the thing I started with, because that's got the da 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 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 da 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 do 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 do. Mission Impossible, right? Di da da di da di da ba da da. Mission Impossible is a great song in 5/4. And so I would take these songs, loop them, and try and find where that clave or the hook was that would help me to get a feeling for that meter. So if it was take 5 and it was da 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 do 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 da ba 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 ba. That really helped me. So a version in 5, same thing. This is a song, again, from the 60s. Blue Note, John Patton. This is off the album, I think it's a song called Dragon Slayer, but it's in 5/4, but the same thing. I just took a loop from the beginning of the song and da, da. Same thing, just looping that beginning bit. That's just the intro from the song. But using Audacity, linking the beginning of the song over and over again, it's a genius way just to get used to playing in odd meters. Anyone can do it. It's not rocket science. There's some really great resources online. I'm not a huge fan of the Jamie Aebersold thing, only in that it doesn't necessarily encourage interaction, which I guess is what music really is all about when playing with others. But as a practice tool is really useful. He's got an album of just odd meter stuff, which has got some really great things to practice. And so getting used to just feeling these meters and feeling the clave behind them is super helpful. I found that really genius for me to start moving forward to just getting as comfortable in 5 and 7 as I was in 4 and 3. Another thing to practice is you could just take a major scale or a minor scale, any scale you want really, and just practice playing. Like we said, 5 is just 1 2 1 2 3. So just practice going. Right? 1 2 3 4 5 1 2, but I'm doing it 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. 7 would be 1 2 3 1 2 1 2. So on and so forth, right? Okay, so you can see that once we start it's just getting our head into this stuff and practicing doing it, right? If we want to learn to ride a bike, how do you learn to ride a bike, right? You get on a bike and you have to ride and you have to fall off, okay? I love riding motorcycles, right? I'm a big petrol head as well. And I'm going to make other videos about restoring motorbike engines, which is even nerdier than jazz saxophone. But the point is, I love motocross and learning to pop wheelies on motorbikes. For example, just as a crazy analogy, but you could read books till the cows come home about how to pull a wheelie on a motorbike, but the only way to learn to pull a wheelie on a motorbike is to get on a motorbike, pull a wheelie, fall off tons of times, and learn the hard way from doing it. And that's why it's much better to learn this music stuff at home in your own time than like Muggins here, who had to go out on the stand and be highly embarrassed and humiliated, which is kind of the story of my musical life really. But that's okay, because that's how we learn, right? When we get kicked up the butt, we tend to get stuff together in a more efficacious manner. Now, as I've said on all my other videos, there's no right or wrong way to do this stuff. If you ask 100 saxophone players how they practice and what their approach is, you're going to get 100 different answers. All I'm trying to do here is share with you my approach in this series of vlogs and video logs. Hopefully next week I'll make some shorter videos, some snippet things, but I just thought I'd start out by giving you all a bit of a groove. So, but just moving on, to conclude, so the next thing I would do was once I'd got comfortable with those grooves, and if you have a look at the list on the PDF below, you'll see there's so many songs. I mean, the list is endless. It's not a definitive list, it's just what I had in my iTunes account. And And I was very, very lucky because before I moved to New York, I was a lecturer of saxophone at Massey University in New Zealand. And we had an incredible library and great resources with an amazing librarian who just couldn't spend enough money buying jazz music for the music department. So I was very, very lucky to be able to get access to all of that stuff. So have a look at some of the songs and you'll find them online, and most of the stuff is on YouTube. But then the next thing I did, and this is where you'll probably need like a music software program, but I think if you've got iReal Tunes on your phone, you know, the Real Book thing you have, there's a setting in there where you can actually change the meter. So you can take any standard, put it in 5 or put it in 7, and just get used to playing in odd meters. But I used a I've got a Yamaha QY70, which is a kind of it's old school now, very outdated, but it's a music software thing. But it allowed me to take a standard, like let's say this one, Love for Sale, right? And I sequenced it with a bar of 4, 4, bar of 3, 4, bar of 4, bar of 3, which is kind of 7. Some 7s are 3 and then 4, so we need to get used to both. But I would just get used to playing a standard in 7, so Love for Sale in 7. Where are we? Okay, so going round like that, not the best example. What was another one I did? Say Out of Nowhere in 7. So just getting used to feeling those tempos in 7. It's always the way when I try to demonstrate something, it never turns out as well as I'd like. Like somebody said to John Coltrane once at a gig, how do you think it's going? He said, it always tends to go better when I'm practicing. And it's largely the way. But these videos I'm all trying to do first take. I could keep recording them to edit all my mistakes, but we're human, we make mistakes, right? So it doesn't matter. The fact is, I just wanted to let you know my process for learning odd meter tunes, how I got comfortable with it, and hopefully that was of some help to you. And if you liked it, then click the like, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to put some more videos up next week. Sorry this was so long and waffly. I think coming in at about 25 minutes. It's pretty crazy, so apologies for that. But hopefully it will give you, if nothing else, some inspiration and some encouragement to just keep on keeping on. And anything we do to better ourselves musically is helping to make the world a much better and brighter place, because music is a spiritual thing. And right now the world's a pretty dark place, and the more people putting spiritual stuff out there, the better. So I hope this was of some use, and for the weekend I'm going to sign out. I'll see you on Monday. Thank you all very much for watching. My name's Johnny Lippiett, coming at you from Brooklyn, New York. Hasta la vista, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen, and au revoir.